Okay, so there's this, should I call it misconception, that law students are proud.
Okay.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the LSS podcast. My name is Odubote Olubusola, and I'll be your host for today. And of course, I'm never hosting alone in the studio. I have the ever-intelligent Uchendu Derek.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Uchendu Derek, and like she said, we'll be doing this together and embarking on this discussion to impact knowledge on all of you. And also, Busola, thank you for that nice intro. As we dive into the discussion, we beg that you also follow our platforms as we are back. Yeah, thank you.
Now, today we're going to be talking about something every or all law students can relate to and should relate to. The theme for this podcast today, the theme for this episode today is From Classroom to Courtroom, the Truths, Transitions, and the Trials of Becoming a Lawyer. Now, we all know law school is tough. I mean, the reading, the deadlines, the expectations, and the pressure to decide who you want to be. It's a lot. No, it is a lot. But it's also the journey that shapes the kind of lawyer you eventually become. This episode is about the realities nobody prepares you for, the experiences you don't find in textbooks, and the lessons you can only learn through the processes. Stick around, stay with us, and let's dive into this together. And because this conversation deserves perspectives from those who have walked the walk and talked the talk, from those who have walked this path, we are not doing this alone. We have three very remarkable guests joining us today to break this down from experience, wisdom, and real-life legal journeys. Our first guest today is a partner at Passions Worth Nigeria, a first-class graduate, and a legal and tax expert with more qualifications than some of us have hours of sleep. Mm-hmm. Yes, I said sleep.
That's fine.
Please make some noise for Olukunle Orimijupa, the man proving that. Please make some noise for Olukunle Orimijupa, the man proving that excellence is not a myth.
All right, our next guest is a very multi-talented lady.
Okay.
I mean, first off, she's an associate at J.O. Fabumi and Co., where she thrives in litigation, commercial, business, and real estate law. Aside being a lawyer, she's a content creator and a fashion designer. I mean, if we were to give her a name in our world of today, we could call her a jack of all trades. I mean, so please, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Joseph Dunson Iyanoluwa Orimigunjo. I hope I got that right.
You tried. We'll allow it.
Okay. All right. Our final guest is a man of timber and caliber, a man of significant substance, quality, and ability. He is an associate in the governance, risk, and compliance team at Aluko and Oyebode. He is the current chairman of the Young Lawyers Forum, MBA Lagos branch. He is also a designated compliance professional certified by Compliance Institute of Nigeria. And aside all these, he sits on the boards of eLawyer, which is Nigeria's leading legal blog, and Lausanne Aid, which is a social impact initiative supporting law students and lawyers living with disabilities. Ladies and gentlemen, we have with us Gideon Eden. So without further ado, and not to waste our time, we dive straight into the conversation. Our first point of contact will be the realities of law school. So under this, I'll be throwing questions to each one of you to answer. My first question will be directed to Ulukunle. What's one truth about studying law that nobody told you when you were in school?
One truth is that you'll be lonely most of the time, but you find peace in it.
Okay, so you were lonely most of the time.
That's if you want to be successful.
If you want to be successful, okay. Does that loneliness just focus on reading, or do you mean loneliness in social network?
Okay, so I believe that law is a jealous lover. So if you have law in your life, you have very few other things in your life. So and law is not about what you have in your head, it's about what you update. So you have to read. You have to fall in love with reading, and then people don't understand that, so you become very lonely.
So one must suffer.
Oh yes, you just set the timeline and then you go through it and it's over.
All right, beautiful answer. I mean, you've heard him say it. If you want to be successful, especially in this legal field, one must suffer. My next question will be directed to Ianu, if I may call you.
Yes,
all right. How did you personally handle the pressure of readings, deadlines, and performance expectations?
Okay, so honestly, like he said, law school comes with a lot of pressure, the deadlines, the expectations, and everything. But personally, what helped me was breaking down my work into small bits, and reading after classes. It was not easy because most times we go to class at say 8 a.m. in the morning, then we finish, give or take 4 p.m. Then you have group meetings to attend, you have tasks, you have to read for the next day. So, it gets really overwhelming. And then there's the mental exhaustion that also comes with reading all these things. So for me, it was breaking my work into smaller bits. I mean, I wrote my reading timetable a couple of times over and over. I can make one timetable today and then I wake up tomorrow and it's not working for me. Do you understand? And there was this mindset that I had that I could always start again. It gets tougher as time goes by because you have friends that have already covered the syllabus before they even come to law school. Like, what are people doing? Right? So, like, you just have to know that it's your own, it's a personal journey on your own. Yes, you need help from like your classmates and whatnot, but at the end of the day, you need to just keep, focus on what you actually want to achieve at the end of the day, and just try to keep your mind on the goal, basically. So for me, it was just prioritizing progress over perfection, if I were to summarize that all.
Okay, so I just want to train a little bit. So I know you're a content creator.
Yes.
And a fashion designer.
Yes.
So was that something that started in school? And if yes, how did you
multitask?
Yeah.
So my fashion designing journey started when I was in secondary school. And I've been designing since then. I used to have a shop when I was in university, and I think I learned multitasking from there. When I got to law school, of course, I couldn't continue fashion designing. Content wasn't something that I picked up until the second semester. The law school is divided into, I think, about 3 stages. We have the long academic session, we have the externship period, and then we have the revision/exam period. Now, I know it might sound a little bit weird, but like I picked up content creation during the revision period, and it was a lot to juggle. Yes, but for me, it was something that actually genuinely made me happy. There was pressure already. I needed something to just distract me. Yes, so that was the consolation I had, and I mean, it was a beautiful ride.
Beautiful. Okay, over to you, Gideon. Looking back, what do you think law students worry about too much, and what do they not worry enough about?
All right. Do you mean while in school? Or
I mean, the segment is realities.
Okay, realities. Yeah. So yeah. I think that law students worry too much about the outcomes or what people are seeing them do, so much that they want to sound intelligent, they want to be seen as doing so much, and you discover that sometimes the substance could be lacking. I see a lot of people show up and act like they know a lot, but a lot of people don't get things done. So I think that law students should be more focused on putting in the work, the inward things, the things that they can control, rather than the superficial brilliance that they aim to show. So try to do the work, and it will show in time, rather than try to show what you're not, and then you're given the opportunity and you falter.
Yeah. Very good. Okay, so there's this, should I call it, misconception that law students are proud.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that's being seen everywhere. I think I'm even the wrong person to respond to this, because you can be a thing and you don't know till somebody tells you, right? But I do not think that is an issue of pride. People outside the faculty of law, the fact that we have, some sort of uniform already sets you apart. So you're being seen as different, you're being seen as unique. In some schools, people really value law students. And just check in your house, the lawyer in the house, when they have family meetings, I mean,
the law,
what do you think? So already you're creating a perception from other people. They're like, oh, why always him? Why always her? And all of that. But it's a profession that we are in, is a knowledge-based profession. And then people see you as the one who knows. So people certainly feel triggered or feel some sort of way when they see, or intimidation, as the case may be. So that's not on us, it's on them. So it's a poor reflection of what people are. So we have to keep being proud and allow them deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you so much for those enlightening answers. I think I learned a lot from that segment. Okay, so we're going to be delving into transitioning from student to legal practitioner. I'm sure you have so much to say. So my first question goes to Ian. Can I call you? Yes. Okay. Okay, so how did your view of the legal profession change after you left university environment?
Thank you for that question. So I'm of the view that the university only prepares you for the theory aspect. I mean, I've heard of some schools, mandating internship for their students to give them, say, a different outlook of what law looks like on the outside. But I don't know if that's the case in your school, but my school, that wasn't the case. Internship was something that you have to really decide that you want to do. Do you understand? So I feel like university, yes, they lay the foundation of legal education, but they don't equip you with the tools that you actually need in the modern world of practice. Do you understand? And also, I feel like the curriculum in itself was something that remains traditional. I mean, we have new areas of law, but then what we practice or what we learn in school is the basics. That's the law of contracts, constitutional law. And at the end of the day, when you get to law school, you're even learning something entirely different. Somewhat, there's a synergy between what you learn in law school and what you learn in the university. But at the end of the day, it's not enough to actually practice, because when it comes to practice, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with real life situations, people's livelihood depends on you. Yeah. So, as much as I feel like the university actually lays the foundation for practice, it doesn't equip us with enough tools to actually practice the way we're supposed to as lawyers. You understand? So, and if I were to maybe advise or, suggest, I would actually say that, or I would prefer that, curriculums should actually be updated. I don't know, but back in my school, when I was a year one of Bafemi University, when I was a year one student, I think for year one student, you have to do all the courses from like different departments. For me, as much as it's a good use of time, I feel like it's a waste of time, because those time that we're spending, learning other courses can actually be diverted into learning the basics that would actually help us or equip us later when we actually, start practicing as lawyers. So for me, it's just the curriculum, the traditional curriculum, and then the fact that university actually deals with more theory than practical. Yes.
Okay, so in response to what you said about our university mandating, no, it's not mandatory, but you are expected to have internship experiences, probably during the holidays or something. Okay, so thank you so much for that. And why did you come to Unilag?
It comes with the family thing, yeah.
Okay. We'll accept that one. Okay, so my next question goes to, can I call you Gideon?
Yes.
Okay, my next question goes to Gideon.
Mr. Chairman.
What surprised you most about the Nigerian law school and your early practice?
Okay, thank you. Since we want to know the truth and we need to be practical, I think my greatest surprise was the fact that I had this big picture about the Nigerian law school, the fact that things should be very orderly. I hope I don't get but anyways, I was a bit surprised when I went to a law school in Kano campus, and it wasn't the most pleasant experiences. Yeah. So there were a lot of things that I noticed there. There were a lot of things that happened. People wake up to, I hope this is not horrible. People woke up and then they saw Senate. Like, people went out of their rooms and then they had stories of Senate in the campus. And I'm like, this is supposed to be a place that produces lawyers, produces, people who would stand up and advocate for the rights of people. It didn't feel to me like there was a lot of preparation for us. So I was surprised. Then we went on to, I was in the COVID set. So there's a lot of conversation about the COVID set. So there are a lot of things I didn't do. I didn't go for extension from law school. There was all that break where you have to stay at home. And then you go just, the final moment when you're to be called to the bar. And you go to the law school, you try to pick up your things and try to get ready for the call. And then you go and everywhere is not orderly. You see people fight to get things, and it it was just a very quick, it was chaotic, and I didn't feel like that was the right process for people who wanted to become lawyers. And after the call to the bar, we had to move to, I think, the Supreme Court to enroll. And then you see the crowd, you see the people who are in such a hurry to get, to sign in. And so it wasn't I mean, I still think of that experience, and I'm not so proud that that was the process that, produced my life. But I mean, all in all, kudos to the Nigerian Law School, the Council of Legal Education. I know that, every other year, a lot of people are called to the bar, but, when we hear of law school right from the university, you have this grand picture. Unfortunately, it wasn't it was not as grand for me, but yeah, that was just my experience. Yeah.
Okay, so do you think the process not being as grand for you was due to the fact that it was like the COVID period and we were like
Well, that's the only time I've been in law school, so maybe I'll ask my senior here what the process was for him. I think you should ask him.
So, can I call you Olukule?
Yes.
Okay, okay. What was your experience in law school like?
Okay. My colleagues here have been making allusions to the fact that I'm a senior, but I just left law school last year.
Okay.
So I'm a junior. Yes. And in our time, we didn't have to go to the Supreme Court to register.
Even now.
Now it's online. Yes. I went to Lagos campus, so I did not see snakes. But there was a lot of noise because of the proximity of the campus to Ozumbamba. But for me, I don't think my opinion about law school is anything anybody should want to believe, because I don't know, I enjoyed it. Like, I had fun in those 9 months. It was more like I got pregnant. Yeah, so law school was it for me. It was the 180 degrees turn that I needed to see law from a different angle. And then the tenacity of the lecturers at the campus, the time, the energy, in fact, the intensity of studying and all of those things actually changed and shifts. And then I met some really brilliant lecturers, particularly for criminal litigation, property, ethics.
Corporate.
Yeah. Corporate is more like my field. So yeah, the lecturers are great. But I mean, there was nothing really new to me to learn in corporate, than for me to just understand how to apply it in law school. But for the rest of the courses, so my first time, I have an accounting background. So I just decided to study law at the second degree. And so civil and criminal litigation were it for me, because I began to see, I was not taught any of that in school, in the university. So I began to see law from an applied angle. Or somebody's in police custody, or is there 24 hours, 48 hours, he needs to leave. How do I get those applications done? Yeah, so there's lights.
Okay, so Mr. Olukule, can I call you?
You just remove the mister, just call me Olukule.
Okay, so can you tell us about your experience in law school?
Okay, so law school for me was very interesting. My experience, like I said earlier, should not be the yardstick for anyone's experience, because people detest law school, but I loved it. I enjoyed every bit of it. I was introduced to things I never knew existed, and then the procedure for law, the stationary law, it was given like live, like kinetic energy was in it in law school, and particularly through those two courses that were introduced to me for the first time: civil litigation and criminal litigation, and then professional ethics. So it was good. Lagos campus was it for me. Sometimes there was no light. Because I also live in Lagos, other times when it was too tough to go home.
Oh,
Um,
lucky you.
and then it was just a very beautiful experience. How people were into it, like the BGS in my sets. I knew from the get go that I was going to BGS. He had like a pattern to his life. You could tell if he tells you, "Oh, I'll be at the chapel by 6 p.m." Don't go and look for him anywhere else. Just go to chapel. You find him there. He was more of a robot in law school, and it paid off. So my experience in law school was really nice. I enjoyed it. And I think that's what makes us really lawyers, not so much of what we have learned in our different universities. That communal experience and the shared experience with the registration and then the call to bar and all of those things that come after. Law school is fantastic, I'm saying.
Okay, so I think you're like the first or like first person I've heard describe school with so much passion. So would it be right to call you a scholar?
Yes, if you call me a scholar, you will not be misplaced, but I am more of a researcher. Like, I just want to find out what is new, what do I need to prepare for tomorrow, because it's changing. Back in the days, you could just go home and tell your wife, ah, Jesus Christ is a black man, or it was a white man, and she say, oh, your children will be like, oh, daddy said they run with it. But now your kids could just pick up the phone and check. It's just a black man. Lad, you lied though. So yeah, I you need to prepare yourself for the tomorrow that the younger ones will question, um, so that you are useful, not just for yourself. You are useful to society where you operate. So that's you can call me a researcher.
Okay, so we'll call you a scholar too.
Scholar, etc.
All right. So if you were to like advise students, what skill would you advise us to develop before getting that would help us in courtroom and corporate practice before even going to law school?
The only skill I believe a lawyer needs, the rest are personal development and self-development stuff. The real skill for a lawyer is your ability to read and turn it into simple bits of understandable material. Once you're able to achieve that, even if you're not speaking fantastic English, you'll be able to put it in your written addresses. The judges, they know when they see good lawyers. And the depth in your law is your ability to actually make complex things very simple. And then, yeah. So read, focus on the books, reread the books, because sometimes when you go back to study, things that would have you'd have just looked at with a bit of leniency. You go in with depth as if they owe you, and you try to get the best out of those things. You get new revelations of the law. So, for every lawyer, please develop that habit of reading. You must read, must read, must read.
What if your boy does not want to read?
Your body is not you.
Mm.
Yes, it's a vessel for us to relate with you. It is your spirit that must read. So growing up, I saw a Bible passage that stuck with me. I'm not sure who said it, and I've been living my life by it. It says, "Study to show thyself approved by God, a workman
That needs not.
yeah, yeah, yeah." No, I think it is important. Maybe you should tell us.
I mean, not all of us
So
here.
please just say it again. It's very important.
Okay, study to show yourself approved, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly divided the word of truth.
Bravo.
Preach.
So, do you want to give the explanation?
Okay, I mean, since you're with the mic, which school, university did you?
Can I pass the mic?
Why?
I was in the University of Uyo, Akwa Ibom State.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. So my question now is, I mean, you're hearing of the looming strike here and there,
Yeah.
right? Did you experience any strike in your schooling days? And if yes, I mean, is a disruption in your schooling life?
Yeah.
How do you manage those situations? Because I mean, if you're on strike and you are told to go home, you're not reading. And all of a sudden, they call off the strike and you're back. And exam is in 2 weeks or 3 weeks. So how did you manage those disruptions? And what tips will you give I mean, we are students. What tips will you give us to manage those kind of situations?
Yeah, thank you. Yes, I experienced I think two strikes,
Hmm.
but I'm not sure it lasted for so long. Yeah, so what I would say is that a strike action or some sort of activity like that is just a disruption to your school calendar. It shouldn't be a disruption to your life, right? And I'm going to say this with another example. So when we were in school, law school now, we are all told to go home, COVID-19 break. And I stayed at home for 3 months. I didn't know when the exams was going to happen. And whenever I share this story, people don't believe me, and I don't want anybody to try it, but I'm just sharing from a place I think I didn't do so well. So I went home to Abuja. I stayed for 3 months. I wasn't studying because there were no classes. They were sharing materials online. You go online and then you're seeing 2 hours of recorded classes, and you're like, on the 12th minute, you're already out. You get so I had the feeling that after COVID, we're going to be called in and then we're going to start the whole process again. Nobody knew what was happening. There was no conversation or whatever. So when they called us back, on my way from the airport in Kano to the school, is when I saw the exams calendar. And I had less than a month. Literally, I had just about 1 month, 100 topics to study and catch up. And make no mistakes about it, that's the only time I had to read. I don't recommend. The thing that helped me is right back in school, as much as I think I was that student that could catch things easily from conversations. I also knew really like, I mean, in school then I was the sort of student that, oh, if you've been in classes for a while, you'd kind of have a sense of where the lecturer is going, and their perception of things. So I listened to the lecturers, I saw the mock tests that we are having. I kind of had a sense of some things, and again, I don't recommend, but that was my reality. So I had, less I had just limited time to study. So I was doing straight 17 hours when nobody should be doing that. I was just not in my room anymore, and I didn't feel myself trying to study to, but I mean, I passed well. Unfortunately, I passed well. So I could have had it easier if I use that time well. So this is general notice to everyone. The disruption in your school calendar shouldn't disrupt your life. Learn other skills. He's mentioned the skill that is relevant for lawyers. One thing I notice is some law students, when they're in school, they are so focused on what the lecturers are saying. And as much as it's important, there are a lot of skills that you should know. I've seen students who can convert Word documents to PDF. I've like just very little things like that. So those are like basic skills that you should have. I see people who, oh, they can't do a PowerPoint presentation. So those are quick soft skills that you need. And they're not teaching you in school. Your lecturer comes to school every other day. Sometimes our lecturers, they're not really the AI savvy, and things are done a bit manually. Yeah. But the world is moving really fast. So you don't have to wait, for your lecturer or for, what's happening. You need to catch up with the trend. So you need to learn far ahead of what is happening in your school walls. When you come to law firms, like ours and every other law firm, I'm sure they don't just judge you for what you can say or the things that are in your books or what you know. They judge you for every other thing, other skills that you have, your ability to address people, your ability to put complex things into simpler representations, and just your ability to be able to represent the firm. That is not something that we are taught in school. So yeah.
So while I was reading through your profile, I couldn't help but notice you are on different positions of, should I say, authority. So how do you blend all this? I mean, if as a lawyer, first of all, you are busy. Then you have the Lausanne aid, you are on the boards for the e-lawyer and an associate. So how do you blend all this together?
Yeah, thank you. I think you asked me
The
a
same
similar
question.
question. So I get this a lot. The truth is, right from school, I was involved in student politics. I think if you this is not to speak so much of myself, but I served in LOSA as the president of Law Students. I was involved in a lot of engagement. I used to go for LOSA and conferences. I don't know if that is still happening. We used to travel to Zaria, to Kogi, to places. So I'm just trying to give you perspective that this is something that comes naturally to me. So being in this space where I'm discussing with people and trying to get things done or execute or lead people is something that comes naturally to me. And I think that I'm a better person organizing this and helping other people find their strengths than being a lawyer, to be honest. So this is something that comes naturally to me. So I've always said that I find my strength in this thing. So that's the first step. It's something that comes naturally to me. So when I've got the opportunity or the appointment to be chairman Young Lawyers Forum, I knew that there's work and work had to be done. So first thing, I spoke to my employers and they gave me the consent. So that way they're able to excuse me sometimes. It doesn't mean I don't get my work done. It just means that I need to work longer hours. So if I had a meeting for, let's say, 3 to 5 now, I should be in the office. So that means when I go back to the office, I have to catch up with things that I needed to do. So if the average person wanted to close at 6, you'd typically find me up till 11, just trying to catch up on things. So it's not something that's easy, but it's something that if you have the right mindset and you enjoy doing what you do, it comes naturally to you. And finally, to time management. So it's very important that we know how to prioritize. So things that are not as much, it's not that important right now. I can learn to just put that, on the lower scale and then try to prioritize things that are of more importance. So sometimes I have learned to have conversations with my bosses. So, okay, man, you gave me this thing to do. Is it very urgent? This is what I have. So clear communication with your employers to help. And that's something that I've tried to harness so much that if I had something else to do outside work, I'll certainly just show up. So you never catch me, any of the two suffering. Thanks. Yeah.
Beautiful. I'm coming over to you. So, do you think the educational system does it equip students with what they need, the skills they need to thrive in legal practice? If yes, yes or no, what reason would you back it up with?
I feel like we've answered this question already. I mean, I've answered, but to answer you directly, I don't think the legal education actually equips us enough. I mean, yes, they try with the curriculum and whatnot, like I've mentioned earlier. I don't think it's enough. What makes a lawyer, like he said, you need to learn how to read and break them down into simpler bits. Yes. And I think another thing I've gotten from what he said was that you need to harness other skills like soft skills, how to do the basic things. In the university, I don't do you guys take any course that computer science where you're taught how to convert documents from Word to PDF? No. Aside that, there are other skills like competence, confidence when it comes to speaking to clients that they don't teach you within the four walls of the classroom. So the best way, if you ask me, the best way to actually learn these skills would be putting yourself out there, volunteering, internship, like I've mentioned earlier. Be eager to participate in programs that are organized. If you don't actually look, you would not even fight. Do you understand? And there are times when you don't even know what you're looking for until you're in certain positions. So you need to learn how to strategically position yourself. It's not enough for you to have a degree. I don't think anybody can even make it far in this profession with only a degree. Law is not an isolated profession. Do you understand? As much as you need the degree, you also need people. You need the knowledge. You need the skill. So you need to strategically position yourself, in places where you can actually learn these skills because with what they've said and with what I've experienced, there are times when, Monday to Friday, you're going to 9 to, it's no longer even 9 to 5 for some of us, 8 to 8. You're at work 8 a.m., you're at work 8 p.m. There is no time for you to actually learn things outside, the office. So the best way to learn is, attending seminars, workshops, surround yourself with people that also water you. In the case where you can't actually, find yourself at these programs, starting conversations with people, you actually tend to learn a lot from them than you even learn from a 3 hours, 4 hours seminar. Do you understand? So that'll be my 1 cent.
Okay, just to train a follow-up question.
Okay.
I remember he mentioned breaking when you're reading, breaking it into bits to understand. But I know there's a difficulty with law students in terms of reading technique, finding what works for you. how do you tell a fresher what how he needs to read to pass? How to tell a 200 level students? Because for us 100 level students, you most likely you're doing legal methods.
Yes.
So by the time you're transitioning into 200, you're doing four major law courses, all 4 units. So sometimes it gets overwhelming, and students are trying to meet seniors. What technique would this advise me to use? So how do you think, or any advice to students in terms of trying to find what works out for them in terms of academics?
Thank you for that question. So I feel like everybody is unique. We are different. What works for you might not work for me. So the fact that you're coming to me for an advice does not mean what I am telling you would definitely work for you. Understand? So you have to understand yourself. You have to know yourself. So if you know yourself enough, when something is working for you, you actually tend to know. There are times when you feel like it's not working. There are days when I've carried books and I've read and it felt as though I wasn't understanding what I was reading, but then I kept at it. You keep going until you actually find it, because at the end of the day, nobody's coming to save you. You're on your own. You've already put yourself, in that position, and you have to leave at the end of the day. So you can develop the mindset of telling yourself that you actually, you can do this. You understand this. I believe in words of affirmation. So even when I don't understand something, I tell myself I understand it. Even when talking about it, I feel like I don't know what I am saying. I just keep going and keep trying until I arrive at the answer that I want. So I feel like it's very easy to give up when something is not working for you. But the best motivation you can get is yourself.
I would like to ask you, what do you think students should be doing outside the classroom to prepare themselves for the legal practice?
I'll be biased. Join tax club. Yes, tax club gave me most of the platform that I use in the industry now. I'm more of a tax lawyer. So it was via tax club. I'm president of the Presidential Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms Committee Secretariat because of the tax club. I was National Tax Ambassador for 2019-2020 because I won the annual tax quiz organized by CITN. You know, now I'm a member of the Student Affairs and Tertiary Education's Relations Committee of the CITN. I'm also a member of ICANN Public Sector Public Relations Committee because of the tax club. So the tax club has given me more than I can ever imagine. And it's not just about being a member of a club in school. It's more about you applying yourself where what your membership, subsists. So yes, find somewhere you can apply yourself, something you're passionate about, and leave the rest to God.
So you're giving free PRs.
I was president of tax club. I stand secretary
Okay.
general of tax club. I was secretary general of tax club, then president. Right. So that was why I said I will be biased. I was also part of those who started the intellectual property club in the University of Lagos. I was part of those who started the insurance club in the University of Lagos. Right. And I was very active politically. But tax club number one. Primus inter pares. Yeah. No, I give myself to them. But there's just something about the tax club that just propelled me into. Okay, can I share a personal story?
Yeah.
Why not?
Okay, so law is my third degree. My first degree is in economics. I have another degree in journalism. Then I decided to study law. Why? Because when I started practicing as a tax practitioner, I figured that the mathematics I was doing was somebody's legal jargon. So somebody says consolidated reliefs and allowance with 20% of gross income plus 1% or 200,000, whichever is higher. That is law. But a mathematician or a tax practitioner will just do the numbers and then he's good at his job. So I realized that it was very important that law informs policy and even the administration of tax itself. So I said, okay, it's better to go and study law so that I can really make use of tax. By the time I got to University of Lagos, I found that there was in fact a tax club. And the tax club was organizing events where the chairman of FIRS would come, chairman of LRS would come, like big stuff was happening. Tax club had budget of 15 million, a student body, right? I didn't quite understand it. So I joined in first year. By my second year, I was in competitions. I came third. The next one I won, and then from there, so studying law to practice taxation, right, met with the student body, a student association that was already doing what I had in mind. So blending it was easy. That is why I always tell people that if you want to really enjoy what law is about, you must find in your heart that which you are passionate about in law, because every area of life there is law in it. And so once you achieve that, you are very sure what you want to do. Find a student body, like a community that is propagating that gospel already, and then apply yourself. Start old offices, just like our chairman here is doing, right? Old offices, let people feel your impact, and then just watch life play out. You'd always find yourself in places. Now you go to Abuja, say, "Oh, come, they pay for flights. You know,
And your
you're on hotel, they give you
accommodation.
stipends. You meet very, very big people that you only see on TV. It could have, it couldn't have been by my CGPA. It was just me applying myself, just having a niche for myself within the law sphere, and it's tax law. So if you ask me again, I would say it's tax club, pun intended.
That's not a question.
Okay, so if you could advise your younger self in year one, I know that there has been a lot of growth, not a bit, a lot of growth from your year one days to like you now. So if you could advise younger Olukule in year one, what would you tell him?
Younger year one Olukunle, I'll say leave the women alone. What I've realized in the University of Lagos is that the top the top shots are usually the female. The women in the University of
Okay.
Lagos are very many and very smart and very pretty.
Have one.
So the guys see that
Oh.
and they get carried away. Not like they are less intelligent, but they are more distracted by the beauty of these women. But these women don't get distracted. You see them making some really serious CGPAs, finishing the first
I'm still
class,
looking
going
fine.
to Bank of America, doing externship and internship.
One mistake that you have made as a university student that you'd
Students.
advise us students not to make or dream of making?
Well, I think my mistakes would actually quite be peculiar to my person. I am someone that worries a lot, but I worry less now about what people think. Before I do something, I'm like, oh, what if I do it wrongly? Or oh, what are they going to think by the time I'm done? So I used to hold myself back when I came in as a freshman year one university, we had this competition. I mean, there were freshman competitions for us. So I did not want to participate because, of course, I'm there to study. My dad is counting on me. I had a dad in the system. My dad was a lecturer in my school. So, I felt like there was so much that was expected from me. But someone signed me up for the competition without my knowledge. And one way or the other, I found myself there. And so one thing led to the other, and I kind of won the competition. So like that was like my first step into putting myself out there, but it still held me back. I didn't want to participate because I was always scared of what people would think. I was always scared of making mistakes. But then mistakes are actually part of growth. My mom says something: if you don't make mistakes, you won't actually get wiser. You won't grow because people tend to learn from mistakes that they personally make. That's not to say that we should go about making mistakes. Yeah, make calculated mistakes, take calculated risks. Your risk cannot be 100% calculated, but you can actually control the extent to which whatever you've done would have consequences on you. So for me, if I were to give somebody an advice, I'd probably say worry less about what people think, live your life, enjoy the experience. University, you only go to the university once.
You only live once.
So, go to classes. If you have the time, I mean, don't lose focus, but if you have the time, engage in activities like, tax club. I was part of the maritime. I didn't join tax club, but we have maritime. I was part of the arbitration club too. Be active. Don't just pass through the school. Let the school pass through you. Do you understand? So yes, that would be my.
So is it possible to pass through school without like attending parties and the rest? Or do you mean attending like school, like classes, clubs and the rest?
Whatnot. So, like I said, everybody's different. I had friends that didn't like parties. Myself, initially, I thought I liked parties, but then at some point, I realized it was just loud music and too many people. So, people have peculiarities. he already said you should know, what works for you. If you know what works for you, you would know that, oh, I have contract text on Monday. Today is Friday. I shouldn't be out there partying. But then if you're someone that reads well under pressure, you could actually go to the party, stay there for an hour, come back, read till Monday, and ace your test.
Exactly.
You understand? So once you know the kind of person you are, you tend to make more informed decisions, and that's how you get to know the things that you should actually be doing and the things that you should not really be caught doing. If you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So just understand who you are, worry less about what people think about you, and live your life. Enjoy the process. If I could go back to university, I mean, because university life was quite somewhat easier than adulthood, the one that we are facing right now. But yeah, I would have lived a little more and worried less about what people thought of me. So, I don't know, insight.
All right, thank you so much.
You're
Okay, I
welcome.
have a question for Gideon. Okay, so what would you define success as, and what would you like expect or tell students to define their own success as?
All right, thank you. I think success, like she said, is peculiar to different persons. People would have different meanings to what success would be. For students like me, who was maybe interested in politics, possibly success to me could be that, oh,
An
I've risen through the
election.
ranks and I won an election or anything like that. But I think for students, your primary goal is that you're in school and you need to make the most out of it, right? So I would say that success should be defined not really about what every other person is doing, but how your progress is being seen. So I would substantiate that, right? So, for instance, in school back then, I think I was very competitive, and I think that if I had a second chance, I'll be more collaborative and speak to more people about their work. So, for instance, if we're in a class and then there was a continuous assessment, and everybody in the class had, let's say, about 12, and I had about the same score, I wouldn't really mind. As much as
Because everybody
everyone,
ahead.
yeah, because they're singing together. But so I think maybe the focus should really be on your journey, your progress,
Personal.
rather than this is what's happening to everybody,
Everybody.
right? But if, let's say, somebody scored higher and then I scored, I'll be very sad. So that means that the metrics of my success was tied,
Relying on somebody
on
else.
some other person. So I think success should really be about you walking your journey excellently. Don't chase perfection, but chase progress. Yeah.
Okay, so since the first like time I read your bio,
Yeah.
there's been something that's been like on my mind,
Okay.
and I think the question is, I like you love politics. I mean, from your bio, and I think it's refreshing to see youth that are like into the political scene. I
Yeah.
mean, right now the political scene is dominated by like older people. I
Yeah.
think it's really refreshing to see young people in that life. So the question I would like to ask is, are we going to be seeing you at the polls? Like, and if we are, what political
Sorry.
party are you going to be under?
This is interesting, and I'm going to say this. So this is me declaring to be president.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah, I know that I have a future in the political scene. Um, before now, I've been discussing leadership and the need for Africa to have, some different form of leadership. I know that, a lot of people were like me. They started out this well, and then somehow they lost it. So what I did before, you asked of a political party. I started a party that's not registered actually. And in my book, Leadership in the Board, I published a book in 2019. The last chapter of that book foretells the story of me declaring for president in 2042 and actually running for it. So that question is unique and I like it. But beyond the politics, it's the idea that I think that a new phase of leadership should come to Africa. And what I did was I spoke to a lot of my friends. Like I said, we went for different conferences in Zaria. So I have a lot of friends who are Northerners. I have friends who are Westerners. I have friends in the East. So we've been having conversations in group. We called it the Mission Progressive Movement. We had a group chat where we could discuss policies and want to hear the views of people. So I could be friends with somebody in the APC. I could be friends with somebody in the PDP because I want to hear their views on things. And sometimes I feel like if you have people of like minds, running together, you could get there and then you want to do something, and then somebody, your friend who can call you out, could call you and say, "This is what we've been growing with." So if you have like minds grow together and have the same thought pattern, you can have somebody actually hold you accountable. And in that group, we've held ourselves accountable. So let's say we have a leadership in that group. if you stay and we have like plans, this is what we should be doing at this time, and it's not being done, people will call you out. It doesn't matter that we are friends. We'll talk about it. So I believe that if you have that like minds, like I have now, and in the future, you have people that no matter your position, they'll call your BS out there. So yeah, so that's what I believe, and you'll see me at the pool someday.
Okay.
Wow.
Looking forward to it.
We are looking forward to it.
2042, Abi.
We'll talk about that. Oh, really.
It's been an impactful discussion. It's been delightful. We've learned a lot. I want to thank all our guests. It's been inspiring. First thing to note, as a law student, focus is key. Find what works for you. Do not worry about what people are saying about you. Focus on your journey. And if you can get extra skills that will help you, get those. Volunteer for programs. Go for seminars. As one of our guests said, stay away from women. For now, do the work. Then, there's time for everything in life. Then you can also, when going into the law school, prepare your mind that it's a different ball game, it's a different story, and be open to that experience, and be open to learning, and the sky will just be a starting point. So again, I want to thank our guests for honoring this discussion and impacting us with knowledge. I remain your humble co-host, Uchendu Derek, and I couldn't have done this without my partner, Busola.
Okay, so I have just one more thing to say. I personally love the fact that we have dynamic people. We have someone that is always in library scholar. We have another person that's just really active in politics. And we have a fashionista, a designer, a content creator. So I especially the fact that we have dynamic people, and this just shows that as much as you can be anything you want to do, be anything you want to be, and do anything you want to do. So thank you so much for don't take it for granted,
and also,
and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media, on all our LSS social media platforms. Yes, be there. Bye guys.
Bye.